Sometimes you have to manipulate them in order for it to be able to cross out. Now, multiplication division is pretty close to simplifying. It's actually almost exactly like it. You just got to do a little bit more with it. So, I'm on that pink graphic organizer. First off, multiplication and dividing rational expressions. It's almost the exact same process as multiplying and dividing fractions. So, let's say I had 1/2 times 2/3. How do I multiply fractions? Nope. Nope, not butterfly either. Nope. So multiply fractions, you multiply dead across. So numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. So this would be 2/6. Then you simplify if needed, it's 1/3. All right, so multiplication, you multiply dead across. Now, division, on the other hand, that's when you have to multiply by the reciprocal. So you do keep, change, flip. So keep, change, flip, which just means keep the first one as it is, change the division to multiplication, and flip the second fraction. And then you do the same thing as multiplication. Multiply dead across. This will be 3/4. Those properties are going to be the same when we multiply and divide rational expressions. Those same steps are what we're going to be doing. But we're going to be combining what we know about simplifying with how you would typically multiply or divide fractions. All right. So that's why I want to show you guys numerically, because if you can do it numerically, those same steps transfer over to the more harder ones with letters and everything. All right. So first off, steps for when you multiply. You first start by factoring all the numerators and denominators. You then reduce. So cancel out any common factors, and yes, cross-canceling is allowed. Meaning if it's in the numerator of the second fraction, but in the denominator of the first fraction, you can still cross it. And then rewrite as a single fraction. So multiply straight across the numerator and denominator, and most of the time you can keep your answer in factored form. There are very few times when you have to reconvert it back to standard form, because most often than not, most of the factors will cancel out, so you won't have anything you have to multiply back together. Sometimes. All right. Division is pretty much the exact same thing. The only change is the first step, which is change to multiplication. So that's when you multiply by the reciprocal. So that's where keep, change, flip comes from. So again, very similar to what we were doing yesterday. It's just slightly bigger. All right. So let's look at this first one. So what we're going to do is we're going to factor every piece. All right. So we're going to factor this numerator, this denominator, and this denominator all separately. All right. You got 4 different factoring problems. That's why I said you want to get decent at factoring, because you're going to be doing it a lot. All right. So let's start with the yellow. So with the yellow, what method will I be using? You use a reverse box, but we start with a what? A big X. So here's my big X. What goes on top? A times C, which is what? Negative 8 or negative 8x squared. I don't care which one you write. What goes on the bottom? Negative 7x, or your b value. So we're multiplying to a negative number. So we know there's going to be x's on either side of these. And we're multiplying to a negative number. So that means one of our factors has to be what? Negative. So what are two factors of negative 8 that will add to give me negative 7? Negative 8 and positive 1. Then we take these factors and our two factors from the original and put it in reverse box. So I have x squared, which comes from the original. Negative 8 comes from the original. Then I have negative 8x and 1x. So this first row, what's the GCF of that first row? It's x. GCF of the bottom row, not negative 8, is just 1. Remember, it needs to be a number that they both divide into. If there's not a number that divides into them evenly, it's automatically 1. All right, don't leave it blank. If there's not a number or a value that goes into it evenly, just make it 1. What about right here? X. And then right here. So take note, it starts with a negative. Negative 8. So the first one we would factor as x plus 1, x minus 8. Now, let's factor the blue. So, look at the way the blue is written. What should I do first before I even attempt to factor? Rewrite it so the x squared's in front. Because then, what can I do with that x squared? Not yet. I need to take the negative out because there's a negative at the front. If there's a negative at the front, you factor that out first. So the signs flip. Now, what's true about negative x squared minus 1? So we know negative is going to be down here. What's true about x squared minus 1? It's a difference of squares. So I have to do what? I need to square root them. So my a squared is x squared. B squared is 1. What's the square root of x squared? X. Square root of 1? 1. How would I write my two factors? So you know we're dealing with x and 1, so that's the two parts of it. But what do I need to separate them by? A plus for one and a minus for the other. Then we would multiply, but we still need to factor the other function, or the other two functions. So now we got 3x minus 4x plus 1. So what's my method for factoring? How do I factor a trinomial? Big X. What goes on top? Three x squared, because you got to do a times c. 3x squared times 1, 3x squared. What goes on the bottom? Negative 4x. So we know these two values are going to be x's in some shape or form. Now, if you're multiplying to a positive but adding to a negative, what's true about the two factors? They're both negative. So what are two factors of 3 that add to negative 4? Negative 3 and negative 1. Then we do our reverse box. So 3x squared goes in the top. That comes from the original. 1 goes in the bottom. That comes from the original. And then my two factors that I came up with, that goes in the other two spots. So negative 3x, negative 1x. What's the GCF of 3x squared minus 3x? 3x. GCF of negative 1x and 1. Not 1, but negative 1. If it starts with a negative first, if the first term's negative, take the negative out. What about the first column? So 3x squared and negative 1x, what do they have in common? X. Second column, negative 1. So this factored would be 3x minus 1 times x minus 1. Finally, we need to factor the denominator. So what's true about the denominator? It's a difference of squares. So a squared, b squared, a squared is 9x squared, b squared is 1. We got to take our square root to get a and b. So, what's the square root of 9x squared? 3x. What's the square root of 1? So what are my two factors? 3x, 1, 3x, 1. What goes in between them? Plus, minus. So plus here, minus here. So now we factored everything. Now, the next step says to typically start crossing out. But what I like to do is that I like to do the multiplication aspect first. All right? Meaning, I'm just going to rewrite this entirety as one fraction before I start crossing, just because it's easier to see. So I have x plus 1, x minus 8, 3x minus 1, x minus 1. So all I did was write straight across the top. And I'm going to write everything in the bottom at the bottom. So negative x plus 1, x minus 1, 3x plus 1, 3x minus 1. And the reason I did that is because it makes it a little easier to see what I need to cross out. All right. So what can I cross? What's one factor I can cross out? X plus 1s are gone. What else can I cross out? X minus 1s are gone. What else can I cross out? 3x minus 1. Anything else? Is there anything else? No. So now my answer is going to be whatever I have left over. So I have x minus 8 over negative 3x plus 1. Just don't forget that negative. It is part of it. Now, if you got to here, I'm happy. But you can also do a bit of simplification by moving that negative to the top. So if I do that, I have negative x minus 8 over 3x plus 1. Factor the negative, it would be negative x plus 8 over 3x plus 1. You could have kept the negative on the bottom and distributed it there. I don't really care. You could have just left it like this. I don't care, as long as you get to at least that red step. Any questions on that? So it's not too bad. The hardest part is going to be the factoring. So again, that's why we did all that practice with factoring. That's the hardest part. It's the factoring. All right, guys, heads up. Come on. This ain't nap time. All right. So that was this first example. Let's look at the second example. So what's the difference between the first example and second example? It's division. So before I do anything, what should I do? I need to do what? Keep, change, flip. Meaning, I keep the first fraction as it is. So x squared minus 6x plus 8 over 3x to the fourth minus 6x cubed. I change the division to multiplication. And then I flip the second fraction. So this will be 2x cubed minus x squared all over 4x squared minus 1. Now I can start factoring. So again, I'm just going to factor each part individually. So I'm going to start with the yellow. How do I factor the yellow? What do I start with? Big X. What goes on the top? 8 times C, which is 8x squared. What goes on the bottom? Negative 6x. So we know both of these factors are going to have x's in them. If you're multiplying to get a positive but adding to get a negative, what's true about the signs of your factors? They're both negative. So what are two factors of 8x squared that will add to negative 6x? Negative 4, negative 2. Now I can make my reverse box. So I use the first and last terms of the original. So x squared, 8. Then I use my two factors that I came up with. So negative 4x, negative 2x. And then I'm finding GCFs. What's the GCF of the first row? But it's x. What's the GCF of the second row? Negative 2. It starts with a negative. Again, if it starts with a negative, take the negative out. So if the first term is negative of the row or column, take the negative out. I think I've told you all that like 20 times now. What about the first column? X. Second column, negative 4. So my two factors for this top one is x minus 2 times x minus 4. Now, the green. So the green, what's the thing that we always look for first whenever we factor? GCF. Does it look like that one has a GCF? Yes. So what's the numerical GCF? So 3 and negative 6, what do they both have in common? 3. What about the variable GCF? X to the fourth x cubed. So remember what I said about variable GCFs. You always use whatever the smallest exponent is. So it's what? X cubed. So I'm going to divide both of these by 3x cubed. And remember, if you take something out, you need to put it on the outside. So that's still part of your factoring. The GCF doesn't magically go away. You've got to put it on the outside of your factoring. So what's 3 divided by 3? X to the fourth divided by x cubed. So if you have 4 x's and you take away 3, how many do you have left? 1. What's negative 6 divided by 3? Negative 2. What's x cubed divided by x cubed? If you have 3 and you take away 3, how many do you have left? 0. So it's just 1. So we leave that alone. All right. Times. So that's our first fraction factor. Now let's factor the second one. So what does it look like is the only thing I can take out of the blue one? So that means we have a what? So we can only factor by taking out a GCF. So what is the GCF? Is there a numerical one? No. 2 and 1, but they don't have anything in common besides 1. What about the variables? X squared. So I'm going to divide both of these by x squared. So divide by x squared, divide by x squared. And I'm going to write that x squared outside here. So what's 2x cubed divided by x squared? 2x. What's negative x squared divided by x squared? Negative 1. So that's done. And then finally, the pink. What's true about the pink? So same two people keep answering. So some of y'all need to start talking. What's true about the pink? Someone who has not spoken yet today. What is it? We've already done like 3 of these. What's that called? Difference of squares. So we have to have an a squared and b squared. So that's 4x squared and 1. Then we need to find a and b. So we do what? Square roots. What's the square root of 4x squared? Square root of 1? 1. If I write it as my 2 factors, I got 2x1, 2x1. Right, separate one by a plus, the other by a minus. So guys, like I said, it's a pain in the butt, but you gotta factor. Okay, you gotta know how to factor. Like I told you, this unit's gonna be hard if you don't know how to factor. That's why we spent so much time practicing it yesterday, and we spent that time as well the day before. All right. Now, my next step is I'm going to write my factors together as one fraction. Now, something to note, if you have a monomial anywhere, so like the x squared and the 3x cubed, I always try to write those at the very front. Because remember, it doesn't matter the order of the factors because we're just multiplying them, and multiplication is commutative, meaning you can rearrange the order, still get the exact same thing. So I have x squared times x minus 2 times x minus 4 times 2x minus 1 all over 3x cubed times x minus 2 times 2x plus 1 times 2x minus 1. Now I'm in the cross out process. What can I cross out? So I can cross out x minus 2 and what? 2x minus 1. So that leaves me with x squared times x minus 4 over 3x cubed times 2x plus 1. Now I'm not done simplifying. Why? Is there something else I could potentially cross or simplify down? The x squareds and the x cubes. So remember, this is just monomial division right here. So the 3 will stay where it is. All right, but the x squared and the x cubed, what would that be? So remember, you do big minus small. So that's 3 minus 2. So that's what? 1x. Or x to the first. And then we put that x where? Where the biggest exponent was originally. So will it go in the numerator or the denominator? The denominator. So this x squared will go away, and the cube will go bye-bye. So I'm left with x minus 4 over, still have the 3, then x times 2x plus 1. Now, the very last step, we just need to distribute that 3x. Yes, ma'am. If you did not simplify the red fully, yes, I would. I would take off at least a point. All right, because that's part of it. Now, if you stopped at the green, I'm okay with that. But you do have to simplify the x squared over 3x cubed. So this would be x minus 4 over 6x squared plus 3x. And again, I would have also accepted the green, but not the red. All right, here's what I want you to do now. Go back to your group boards. Work together and try letter C. So go to your group boards, work together, and try letter C. So I'll leave this up as kind of a reference. Y'all can move this out of the way. So try letter C on your own. I left letter B up as a reference. Very similar. So guys, work together. Split up the factory. That will probably help.
Can I read the first word? I'm just gonna write what I have written on my paper, which is the key change flip.
Times
Or should I write the? I'm asking you a question. Should I write the key change flip or should I write
x multiplication.
That's division. And then it's a couple of steps.
KCF. Keep change flip.
All I know is
It's a flip.
oh, so you're gonna multiply. That's not gonna be division.
Yeah.
Times
2x plus 10.
what this one?
Yeah.
2x plus 10. I wish my hand was not shaking.
It's okay. I can
This is the
go
key.
2x squared minus 16. How do you do that?
That's good. That's 6 small, but it's okay.
How do you get the work?
We're gonna fix that. Yes. That's first. We gotta do this one.
We have to do the bottom.
So, and then
Oh, the other.
oh, there's I thought it was the X where you put like the A and C. Yeah, I thought you did
That's
this.
this This is
No, I'm confused.
x minus I just took a graded back out of this.
Can we just all do it on our paper and then come back and see what we got? I don't know how to do it enough to be like doing this. So like Who did your problem? Like one like this. And actually, no, I'm gonna throw that one right. Because I'm like gonna be sick and I got it's negative 42.
Yeah.
Factors and I got this. It's like a picture. She always really right here. No. 4, right? Yeah. No, 2.
Well, I could do the same thing.
I got the bottom part.
Why are you asking? So let's just do.
How do I erase this?
Why are you messing with it?
Well, I was just fixing it. I'm messing with it.
So how do we do it?
Oh my god. Oh my god. That's the problem. Would it be this? Because I square rooted x squared in 16, which is negative 1. So it'd be x minus 4 and then x plus 4. You want to borrow mine to look at it? So let me write this.
Show all this.
I'm gonna write it straight.
There.
I think it would just be F. This is the first thing you see.
And they're color coded here as well. Right.
So it would be
We got right. Black marker.
no. It's fine. Right here.
Oh, above. You get this one small and from the
X
left.
plus 1 right down here.
Because we also have access.
Because I should have to add it. Yeah. And then X plus 4?
Yeah.
It's just like Can you back up?
What?
Can you back up?
2x plus 5.
Like it's like right in This is gonna be so weird.
Yeah.
It's your back.
So you max it out of these, but now you got to second. Yeah. But it's equal flip. And that's division. So see how it's like this. It chooses multiplication.
Where the markers are.
Then you back it.
Can you do the next one? It's okay. Line it out.
And you basically write it out wrong. That goes. Try to put this.
I'm fine.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Let's give it to you.
What do you say? It says to.
I love the teamwork. Okay, we can do this. It's fine. This is fine. 8x minus 16. So,
Can X out the negative? Is that supposed to be positive? I get 8. Yeah.
That was my art.
Is one of these?
Oh, will it need to do this? No.
Yes.
I'm hoping.
Actually, you can sit together.
Yeah,
Just
one
change.
other color. Today's possible.
See, this is the problem. Well, how are they get that done?
It's because Abby is smart.
It's a word problem.
So guys, once you got an answer, have seats.
That's the
I realized we did well. It's not maybe for us. Yes.
That is
That bond has to go.
I can try, right? It just depends on what it is. I can't tell you how it is. It's only focusing on
I remember grandma drawing. I draw a bunch of portrait of myself. It's gonna look like a statement. Sorry, I can draw people.
Yeah, I remember.
I took art when I was fresh.
Professional is not required.
Why do we have fish?
Dude, one of the staples is like sticking out.
Oh, actually, it's fine. It's fine. We'll put it on. Divide by 2 and then you have to that would, I'm not talking that would go away. That would be 4 and then you distribute it, so it would be 4x times negative 4 times negative 4.
All right, guys. Even if you didn't get an answer, that's okay. But I gotta move on. So go ahead and have a seat. All right, so looking around the room, most of y'all either got it or you were almost there and you had the bones. Okay, so let's do this together. So before I do any factoring, what do I have to do? Keep, change, flip. So keep the first, change division to multiplication, flip the second. So this will be x squared plus 2x minus 8 over 8x minus 16 times 2x plus 10 times x squared minus 16. Now, we're not going to do the whole factoring process, so I'm not going to do all the big X's and box methods, all right, because looking around, most of you guys factored them correctly. So what does x squared plus 2x minus 8 factor to? So what'd you get? How'd you factor x squared plus 2x minus 8? X plus 4, x minus 2. Good. Shh. How'd you factor 8x minus 16? Good. Times, how'd you factor 2x plus 10? Good. And And finally, x squared minus 16. Difference of squares. How'd you factor it? X plus 4, x minus 4. So that's factored. Now I'm going to rewrite it so it's one fraction. I'm going to move this 2 to the front because it's a singular. So I have 2 times x plus 4 times x minus 2 times x plus 5 all over 8 times x minus 2 times x plus 4 times x minus 4. So what can I cross out? X minus 2's are gone. What else can I cross out? X plus 4. So I have 2 times x plus 5 over 8 times x minus 4. Now I'm not done. What else can be simplified? The 2 over 8. What is 2 over 8 simplified down to? 1/4. So this would be x plus 5 over 4 times x minus 4. And then you would finish it up by distributing the 4 to the bottom. So x plus 5 over 4x minus 16. And there's your answer. So looking around, good job. You guys did well with the factoring at the very least. So that's what I was hoping to get at. Just make sure that you factor every single aspect. All right. And you simplify every single aspect, including monomial fractions. Any questions on that? All right, so that's it for notes today. So your classwork, and you guys got a solid 40 minutes to work on this. Actually, it's more like 50. So you have almost it's a solid 40. You got a solid 40 minutes. You have a new delta math. It's the 4.